Thank you for the group. Okay, next. Swechha.
Yes, sir. अब हामी गर्छौँ है.
अब स्वेच्छाको ग्रुप पछि नेक्स्ट आशिष पौडेल. आशिष.
हजुर सर.
ल स्वेच्छा पछि तपाईहरुको ग्रुप रेडी हुन्छ है.
म मात्र छु के अरूहरु कोही नि हुँदैन हैन.
हो ल उनीहरुलाई बोलाउनु कल गर्नु.
सर बरु हाम्रो ग्रुप रेडी छ सर.
हजुर
सर ग्रुप भन्नुको
आइसकेको गरम न सर सुरुमा.
मिथिलेशले
मिथिलेश ल स्वेच्छा यो स्टार्ट अनि त्यसपछि मिथिलेशको ग्रुप रेडी भएर बस्नुस् है. ओके स्वेच्छा.
हजुर सर. सर स्लाइड शेयर भएको छ?
भएको छ स्लाइड शेयर भएको. यसलाई फुल स्क्रिन गर्न मिल्छ फुल स्क्रिन गर्नुस्.
हजुर हुन्छ सर.
स्लाइड टु कम्प्लिट अन 15 मिनेट्स है. ओके.
Abhilasha.
Okay.
First
Okay, good morning everyone. I'm Abhilasha Suvedi. My team members are Binayak Dahal, Budathoki and Swechha Adhikari. Today, we're going to deliver the presentation on topic global warming and climate change. Now, what is global warming? Swechha, please change the slide. Okay. In simple words, global warming भनेको Earthको surface वरिपरिको temperature बढ्नु हो. Average increase in the overall temperature of the Earth's atmosphere and oceans. The main reason behind global warming is increasing concentration of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, etc. in the atmosphere. What are the causes of global warming? As I've said earlier, its main cause is greenhouse effect. If the concentration of greenhouse gases is too much, Earth's radiations cannot escape to the space because they are trapped by greenhouse gases, which ultimately results to global warming. Further, the other causes are, in order to generate electricity in power plants, we burn fossil fuels like coal, oil, petroleums. In transportation, fuels like LPG, kerosene, fuel oils, etc. are used, which create smoke and produce greenhouse gases. Similar is the case with industrial process, where many machines and heavy equipments are used for manufacturing process of cement, steel, aluminium, etc. Now, the main and rapidly increasing cause is deforestation. By cutting down trees, carbon dioxide gas cannot be trapped by the trees, which releases the gas in atmosphere, and thus the amount of greenhouse gases is increased. This is the picture of deforestation. Slide. This is a picture of deforestation shown in the screen. This is how the forest looks like after trees being cut down. Further, Swechha will be taking over for the topic effects of global warming.
Moving on, now let's see the effects of global warming. Human activities from pollution to overpopulation are driving up the Earth's temperature and fundamentally changing the world around us, while Earth's climate has fluctuated in the past. Now, the severe changes in the weather, rise in temperature was noticed by unusually severe weather in many parts of the world. Scientists have determined that global sea level has been steadily rising since 1900 at a rate of 0.04 to 0.1 inches per year. It could raise sea levels for islands and low-level coastal areas. The impacts on the ecosystems that sustain organisms that live in ice are affected by the rising temperature, which results in the ice melting and decreasing the size of the organisms living in these areas. There are generally two mechanisms. Oceans warm due to an increasing global temperature, and seawater expands, taking up more space in the ocean basin and rising more temperature and water level. Similarly, the next mechanism is melting of ice over land, which then adds water to the ocean. Now, we saw how the release of extra greenhouse gases into the atmosphere causes the climate to warm. Now, we will look more closely at the effects caused by the global warming. The effects caused by the global warming are changing of climate creates problems in ecosystem, rise in sea level, higher temperatures and more heat waves, stronger storms, more droughts and wildfires. Sorry. Now we can see changing rain and snow patterns. Patterns of rainfall will change, although a hotter world will have more water evaporated from the seas. This water may not rain down as it does at present, and at some places it will create undoubtedly more rain, and at some places it creates less rainfall, causing droughts. Now, similarly, changes in animal migration and life cycles. Many birds and animals have altered the timing of migratory and reproductive routines to better sync up with warming climate. So there will be changes in animal migration and life cycles. And the stronger storms. In a result of climate change, the increase the warm sea surface temperature helps in intensify tropical cyclones and storms. And similarly, high temperatures and more heat waves, more droughts and wildfires. Higher temperature brought on by climate change are expected to increase the amount of moisture that evaporates from land and water, which will also cause rainfall patterns to shift, and this will lead to more frequent and severe droughts. Hot temperature and dry conditions also increases the livelihood and wildfires. Thawing permafrost. Permafrost is any ground that remains completely frozen for at least 2 years. It is most common in regions with higher mountains and Earth's higher latitudes. At Earth's climate warms, the permafrost is thawing. That means the ice inside the permafrost melts and leaving behind water and swell. Similarly, the corals will be damaged, rising in sea level and warmer oceans that will create the change in plant life cycle, as I have said earlier, in animal migration and life cycles. Now, my friend Binayak will be presenting rest of the slides.
Now let's discuss about the climate change. What is climate change? Climate change is a long-term process that occurs over a large area and is measured over a long period of time. Climate change is also the average of many years of weather observations. Please change slide. Swechha Adhikari. Now, factors that affect the climate. There are mainly two factors that affect the climate. These are abiotic factors and biotic factors. Abiotic factor includes latitude, altitude, ocean currents, topography, solar radiation, evaporation, and volcanic activities. And the biotic factors involves transpiration, respiration, photosynthesis, digestion, and decomposition. Now I'd like to request my friend Buddha to continue with the presentation.
Effect of climate change. The Earth is getting warmer and warmer, resulting in the changes that we can see. Glaciers and ice caps are melting due to the rising temperature of the Earth. This leads to the rising sea levels. Animals such as bears will become extinct because the glaciers are melting and they cannot live in warmer climate. Here are some pictures due to the global warming. They are the pictures of melting ice caps. Thank you. This was from also our side.
Okay, thank you, Swechha. मेरो एकैछिन सिस्टम ह्याङ भयो समस्या भयो. Okay, good. It was a good presentation, है. तपाईले धेरै अब good presentation. The information were very subjective, है. र अर्को पार्ट भनेको यो अब एकदम हामीले भोगिराखेको कुराहरू हामी सबै देखेको समस्याहरू हैन द इम्प्याक्ट ड्यू टु ग्लोबल वार्मिङ क्लाइमेट चेन्जले गर्ने बेलामा एडभर्स इम्प्याक्टहरू के ल्याइरहेछ भन्ने पार्टमा द स्नो आर मेल्टिङ डिफोरेस्टेसनहरू भइरहेछ ग्रिन हाउस ग्यासको इमिसनहरू भइरहेछ त्यसले वेदर प्याटर्नहरू चेन्ज गरिरहेछ त्यसकै इम्प्याक्टहरू हामीले रिसेन्टली तपाईँको मनाङमा सिन्धु होइन मेलम्चीमा हामीले ह्युज डिजास्टरहरू भोग्यौँ होइन इट क्यान बी रिलेटेड टु द क्लाइमेट चेन्ज अल्सो होइन क्लाइमेट चेन्जको एउटा एडभर्स इम्प्याक्टसँग पनि यसलाई रिलेट गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने पार्टहरू हो भेरी गुड इन्फर्मेसन ओके अर्जुन